Alright, here goes nothing.
Long-running video game franchises need to evolve. While there's certainly something to be said for games like Call of Duty and Pokemon, which have maintained the same core gameplay mechanics for years and years, other series need to change or get left behind. Grand Theft Auto and Half-Life were games whose sequels took advantage of new technologies to evolve and deliver radically different experiences from their predecessors. For a long time, Resident Evil did not evolve. From its start in 1996 on the PlayStation, RE was defined by tank controls, fixed camera angles, and slow combat with a heavy emphasis on exploration and keycard puzzles. When the series made its first next-gen leap with Code Veronica on the Sega Dreamcast, the PS1 formula remained intact. When the series made its next leap to Nintendo's GameCube, the PS1 formula remained intact. RE games were iterative, not reinventions of the wheel. That all changed in 2005 with the release of Resident Evil 4. At the start, the only thing linking Resident Evil 4 to the original series is the presence of RE2's Leon Kennedy. In a magnificent subversion of fan expectations, the narration quickly reveals that Umbrella, the evil corporation behind all the villainy in the series, went bankrupt after their involvement in the Raccoon City disaster was made public. Kinda like how BP, British Petroleum, went bankrupt after the Deepwater Horizon disaster, which killed 11 people and caused immeasurable environmental damage. Wait, what? Oh? Oh. Well. I guess Umbrella didn't invest enough money in lobbyists. Anyway, in the aftermath of Raccoon, Leon got scooped up by the US military and became an agent. As the game begins in 2004, Leon is tasked with rescuing Ashley Graham, the daughter of the President of the United States. She's been kidnapped by a Spanish cult and Leon's gotta kill everything.
My name is Osmond Sadler. No longer will the United States think they can police the world forever.
To be honest, the story's not very important, and it doesn't really add a lot to RE's soap opera mythology, even with appearances from Ada Wong and a handful of references to Albert Wesker.
I don't trust you, nor does Wesker. If you try to do anything clever, I will kill you.
Is that so? You know, I met Wesker long before you.
At its core, RE4 is all about reinventing the series as an adrenaline-fueled action spectacle. If the original Resident Evil games were a pastiche of 1960s zombie movies with a little bit of 1950s monster madness, then Resident Evil 4 is a 1980s straight-to-video action extravaganza, with a lone American on a rescue mission, shooting his way through a foreign country to accomplish his objective.
The American prevailing is a cliché that only happens in your Hollywood movies.
Originally, RE4 was set to continue where Code Veronica left off. However, director and series creator Shinji Mikami felt it was important to blow up the status quo every once in a while to keep things from becoming predictable. To shake things up, there's nary a zombie in sight in RE4. Instead, it has a whole new bioorganic terror, Las Plagas, ancient parasites unearthed by the Salazar family and utilized by the devious criminal mastermind, Osmond Sadler. Humans infected with the parasite could be described as zombie-like, but not the undead type, more like voodoo-style mind slaves, under control of their master. They're also capable of firing guns and operating heavy machinery.
Thanks. When we get out of here, drinks are on me.
Yeah, hey, I know a good bar.
You probably already know all about the gameplay evolution of Resident Evil 4, from the shift from fixed cameras and tank controls to over-the-shoulder aiming and shooting, all in the pursuit of creating the ultimate action horror adventure. The game starts out with a bang and never lets up, though it really shows its strength once Leon finally amasses a substantial arsenal of weapons. When RE4's combat is at its best, you're popping off shots with the TMP. Then, instead of reloading, you switch to the shotgun, then to the Red 9. You shoot an enemy in the head and it explodes, revealing a Plaga parasite underneath. Another trip to the menu, and you switch to the sniper rifle and take out the parasite with a single well-placed shot. There are few things more satisfying than finishing a battle and going through your inventory, knowing you've made strong use of each and every tool in your arsenal.
My name's Leon.
Leon, I have some bad news.
What are we gonna do, Leon? Where are you going, Leon?
Leon!
Leon. Leon!
It's Leon.
Isn't that a popular word these days?
Resident Evil 4 is split up into 3 parts: the village, the castle, and the island. The transition between these settings is a bit clunky, but they feel distinct enough and are each full of unique environments. It never feels like a real setting, but it's still more than serviceable as a playground for high-octane arcade action. Even though the game never stops throwing hordes of enemies at you, it usually keeps from getting boring, what with all the resource management, effective jump scares, and monsters which still manage to inspire terror due to their creepy designs, aggressive natures, and merciless difficulty. The bosses and mini-bosses definitely help in this respect. In my past, I've beaten Resident Evil 4 on PS2 and PS3, but during this PS4 playthrough, I still died a bunch of times. The fight against the village chief with the Jordan Vogt Roberts beard was unexpectedly difficult compared to what I remembered, and I still got caught off guard by Salazar's instant kill move. Still, on my second try, I did destroy him in seconds with the broken butterfly magnum. It would have been anticlimactic if it hadn't been so cool. Now might be a good time to mention Separate Ways. When the game was ported from GameCube to PlayStation 2, it came with a new campaign starring Ada Wong. While not quite long enough to qualify as a proper B scenario a la Resident Evil 2, and its lone boss fight is just a redo of Leon's fight against Krauser, it adds some context to the events of the main game and some lore to help tie in with the greater RE myth arc, including brief appearances from Albert Wesker himself. My latest playthrough of the game, from which all the footage you're seeing was taken, was on PS4. As far as I can tell, the only difference between this and the PS3 version is the frame rate, which is doubled from 30 to 60. It's a big change and really helps RE4, which was originally released for the Nintendo GameCube back in 2005, and it helps it hold up in 2018. Character animations also feel way ahead of their time, especially in cutscenes, which look remarkably realistic. There are no ragdoll physics for dead enemies, but the canned animations feel very lifelike, especially since they act as contextual signals for when Leon can run up and deliver a melee strike. The biggest visual weakness is the textures, which look, well, appropriately ancient. They look muddy and low-res and really make the levels feel like video game stages, rather than a Spanish village or an island being rocked by ocean waves. Also, all of the cutscenes in Ada's scenario are really ugly and compressed, which makes Separate Ways feel more like an afterthought, and not an integral part of the RE4 package like it should be.
Looks like we have the upper hand here.
The most important thing RE4 did for the Resident Evil saga was allow it to mutate into something new, which meant it would be able to further mutate in the future. Resident Evil 5 changed things even more, making two-player co-op key to the experience, while RE7 Biohazard was another page-one gameplay reboot, bringing the series back to its horror roots with a more personal story. Like RE4, Part 7 has very little to tie in with established mythology save for Easter eggs and a surprise cameo at the end. Resident Evil 4 made it clear that the world of bioterror could go anywhere, from zombie horror to bombastic action and back again, all without skipping a beat. Resident Evil is flexible, adaptable to the times, and unafraid to rock the boat, subverting expectations with something the fans initially did not want, but would ultimately learn to love.
Need a ride, handsome?
I have a recurring dream with the exact same setup. Have I had a dream with that setup? No comment. No comment. I said no comment!